business.
But where does this disparity between pay come from? Like, why are they getting paid less? I don't understand.
I think women. I wouldn't. I don't want to say anything wrong, but I think it's.
No, speak from the heart, bro.
If you say something wrong, we'll correct you.
If you say anything wrong, Iman's going to tell you straight away.
Say your throat, go on.
I think it's sometimes that women. It's not that they don't try as hard. It's because there isn't as much per se ambition for them to get to a certain
No, I
level.
see where you're going. Listen, no. Wait.
I said
No. I see where I
You heard
see.
me?
No, I don't. No. I don't agree with you.
I get what
Your wording, I think maybe your wording it not the best way.
But we all
Okay?
understand.
But
We all
this is
understand
what from a
feel like
young
it means.
age we encourage men
Yeah.
to occupy spaces,
100%.
okay, of like authority, of like, you know, so that's where that comes from. Do they try harder? It's because of the encouragement that they're given when they're younger, and they're given like
opportunities.
You see it when you're kids. Okay, he's gonna be a doctor here. Wear a stethoscope and wear an apron, and you know, with toys and stuff. The girl is like typically given a cooking set or a baby to play around with. You see that from there. Why are we encouraging that and not that?
No, I don't mean.
I feel like women try harder now because obviously they already know.
Yeah,
they're gonna
a
be
woman obviously
discriminated
has to
against,
try
that's why
10
they have
times
to
harder.
10 times harder.
10 times harder just to get in the...
See, I don't mean it like that. I mean it like women and men work in the same job, and they know that there's a possibility that they can earn more money other places or they can get a certain bonus. I know that men will have that more of an ambition to get to that next level, as opposed to women who prefer comfort and stability rather than almost challenge authority. They'll be more likely to just stay on that particular level.
Okay, one thing.
That's what I meant.
One thing that I will say is that, okay, so when men go in and discuss pay, they're more than likely to get the contract and say, no, I want a higher pay.
That's
Women, statistically, take the contract without negotiating pay.
And that's why I say lack of ambition.
It's not lack of ambition.
What is it?
It's not lack of
Sorry,
ambition.
correct my words for me.
It's not
Someone
lack
here
of
correct
ambition.
my
I
words
spoke
for
to
me.
my mum about this kind of similarly before I got here, and basically I was saying like, if a woman, for instance, okay, let's say for instance, if you've got a board of directors, let's say if all of the men are getting like, let's say 110 to 120k, but then they offer the woman, let's say 100 to 110k, so she's being paid less than them. What I kind of said to my mum is, with women right now, there's kind of this air of there's this undertone of you should kind of be grateful in regards to the way that they're paid. That you've got a seat at the table. So are we really gonna split hair ends over minor issues like, you know, £5,000 to £10,000? But you know, it's the principle of the fact that I'm doing the exact same thing as my peers, but I'm not being paid the same. So is that what you're trying to allude to? Is that what you're kind of alluding to in the sense that with when women get put into positions of power or certain places, it's kind of the expectation of like, you've jumped through so many hurdles, you know. You're the one in the 100 million, or like, you're the one in like 200 applicants. So you should just be grateful, you know, the fact that you know. But then with a guy, it's different in the sense that it's like inherently for us, it's the understanding that there's nothing that can stop us from getting to the top.
Yeah, I've got to go and get it.
So already it's a case of I know that there's nothing. It's the only thing you can discriminate me on, let's say it would be my race, but let's say let's make the assumption that we're all white here. So let's say I'm already here. I know I'm in this position. I know that there's nothing that's going to go against me from getting this position. So why not use this position to try and negotiate the best sort of deal? But, you know, I feel like with women, it's more of the expectation that's like...
But why don't
there's a fear.
But this is what I was saying.
What do you mean there's a fear?
There's a fear of you.
You don't want to fumble the bag, low-key.
I just got this.
I don't want to
I
ruin
worked
it.
so hard
but
to
you
get
know
this.
what
I don't
was
want to
saying?
ruin it.
You know what I was saying earlier? How like people think I'm aggressive or yada yada, and if I say I'm a feminist, like that's another thing that's just gonna I feel like will hinder me. This is going off of that same principle. So if I get to a position now that's a really high position and it's amazing and I'm the only woman, yada yada yada, I start now talking about pay.
You know the first thing they'll say to you, she's gonna be hard to work with.
Exactly.
She's gonna be so hard to work with this one.
Whereas a man, it's
he's ballsy.
You hear me? Yes.
You know what? Fuck
Thank
it.
you.
10 grand.
Whereas me, I'm difficult. I'm this, I'm and I already get it. Is what I'm saying to you. So imagine when I'm starting to assert my authority in terms of pay and in terms of this and in terms of this, and it's like, oh, you're asking too much.
I also feel like it's due to naivety and ignorance too. In a sense,
Who's naive?
1 second, listen.
Who's naive?
In a sense that you're just assuming that we're all getting paid the same. Like when they give you the contract, you just assume that the
I hear
guys
what
are
You're
you're
saying
saying.
women are naive. Is that what you're
Oh,
saying?
He's done it. He's fucked.
Why would you
Sorry.
assume that?
No,
Bro, you just said that.
Nah,
It's
he,
due
I
to
can't lie, he
naivety.
has got you there still, bro.
No, when it comes to applying for a job,
As in
people
like,
are
as
naive,
in
yeah.
like, as in
Forget
like,
about women.
People-
I'm talking about everyone in general.
Okay.
people think that when you get the contract, that is the pay.
Yeah, it's a pay.
People or women? Because
Did I-
that's
did I
that's
not
what-
just say people?
Sorry. No, but that's what you mean. Women are naive.
No, I said forget about women. Let's talk about people.
Okay.
As
People-
in like,
Can I ask you guys a
No,
question?
but-
Can I ask you guys a question? If you were working somewhere, right, and you had the exact same job as your female counterpart, and you found out she was getting paid less than you, would you say something?
No.
It depends how
I'll
much
be
I like
honest.
her.
Even if there was a guy that's being
but
paid
as
less
a
than
man,
me, I
no,
wouldn't
but
care.
as a man, you don't have a privilege.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So if you lot recognizing and understanding your privilege and saying, I'm gonna take this privilege, because what actor were you saying?
Oh, so Benedict Cumberbatch,
Mhm.
he doesn't accept a role unless he knows his female counterparts earn exactly the same as him.
I'm gonna be real for you. I'm gonna be very, very real to you. For me personally, whether you're black, white,
think that's-
male,
yeah.
female,
Me don't
I think
care.
maybe because I'm like a very, I've got kind of like tunnel vision at sometimes.
Yeah.
So with me, it's like whatever you're being paid is your own business. You know, that's between you and the HR and the people that you
Mhm.
negotiated your deal with. You know,
Mm.
if it was an issue for you, if you're content with your wage, then
Mm.
you're content with it. It shouldn't be a case where you see what your neighbours got and suddenly you feel feelings of animosity and like, oh damn, like
Mm.
why have I not got that? Like that's your own business. You were fine before
Yeah.
it was common knowledge or you had the idea of what
I hear
I've got.
I hear that. But right now, and the issue with gender inequality when it comes to pay
Mhm.
is that there's a ceiling for women's pay.
Mhm.
So that it doesn't go beyond that. The companies and corporations don't see that. So let's say, for example, Freddie's on 60K and I'm on 40K, and the highest any woman has ever got in that corporation is 45. So already the ceiling for me is 45. I will never get to 60. Even though Freddie might be able to push to 65, I won't get beyond 45
Mhm.
because that's the ceiling for me,
Yeah.
just as women in general.
Yeah.
And that's the issue. So I hear what you're saying in terms of you stay in your lane, like you negotiate what it is for you. I could negotiate my ass off, and the highest I'll get is 45, even though I have the same qualifications, experience, as Freddie. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like that's changing.
Wait,
nowadays.
do you
I
think-
would actually help out the woman or the black guy.
There's a
But
difference.
If I'm arguing about my
if
pay.
if she asked you, you would. But I feel like if it
No,
was
no,
just-
no, no, no,
if it
no,
was just a-
no, no. On a serious note,
Mhm.
I hate injustice. Full stop. I
Mm.
actually, so I may not speak out overtly. I may not speak out overtly, but covertly, I will be giving you the tips. I will be telling you this is what you should do. This is what you're gonna do because it's your own battle. To be
Okay,
fair.
but then
But
what
I
if they
would-
decrease your pay to make it even?
I don't recognise that. Sorry,
There is a
sorry,
problem
sorry,
then.
Sorry.
What if they
If
de-
they,
Sorry.
so,
I don't think that's the same guy. Who's this out? I don't know. Who's
what's
that?
that? Okay, what's
Do you
that?
know that?
Let me
Is
just
that the
think.
same?
If they
I don't know if
decrease
that's
my
right.
pay,
Yeah, if they decrease your pay.
to make it equal?
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Sorry.
Okay,
Sorry,
one
guys.
thing I have realized.
Sorry, girls.
That's
Sorry,
okay,
girls.
so one thing I have realized. Though,
I'll deal with you next week.
no. One thing I have realized, and I have to thank God for being brought up here in the UK and being brought up in like kind of Essex, London, amongst white people,
Essex.
because I've realized how
Like
I've realized how
Yeah.
white
You
people-
heard it. You heard it as well.
You
Yeah,
said-
yeah.
So I'm thankful that I've been brought up in the UK, not here in like Essex.
in kind of like Essex and London.
But you said I'm thankful that I've been brought up in the UK.
But what do you?
You said, but
That's not my point. My point is earlier in the episode, before we even started, Fred said he's not from Essex.
I didn't answer that question.
No, that was me.
Oh,
That
was that
was-
you?
that was
Oh,
Toby.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That was
I feel
Toby.
like you guys are committed to trying to misunderstand what I'm saying.
Oh my.
But anyway,
Continue.
I am grateful for that because I have been amongst white people and I've seen the way they speak up whenever they don't like something. I've seen the way they negotiate. And
Yeah,
all
but
that
they're
stuff.
able to speak
They're
up.
able. That's the thing. But
Yeah.
then I've kind of,
Speak your mind, speak your mind.
I've kind of adopted that kind of that mentality whereby, okay, no, I'm going to speak up whenever I don't like something, all that stuff. And I've forgotten what I was alluding to now. What did you say before?
You're basically saying how like covertly, if you feel that there's injustice, you
Oh,
don't
that's
like
it, yeah. So I will say, okay, calm. Give me that paper. I'm cutting.
You're cutting.
Okay, no, but what I'm trying to say to you is, this is what all of you lot didn't hear, yeah? This is what someone asked. If a woman or the corporation came to you and said, yeah, we're increasing women's pay, would you not take a pay cut?
No.
if they're increasing women's pay and then a bid to increase it,
They have to cut your pay
No.
Well,
In order to make it equal.
Why?
it depends by how much.
throughout
really,
the
truly.
company.
Right, yeah,
It's
right.
not. You're not the only
It
one
depends
who's
by how
suffering.
much though.
To make it equal.
No, but I'm saying like, say for instance, if I'm like earning like 100 grand and then they're saying, they're gonna drop it down to like 99. That'll kind of bug me because I've lost the figure. But let's just say if it's like the drop isn't that much and it's all in the pursuit of equality.
I mean, you know,
That's
for,
fair.
for
I wouldn't want it
argument's
to be a case where my whole lifestyle has to get changed.
No, but
I'll
that's we know that's unreasonable. We know that will never happen.
That's what I'm trying to say. It's all
Yeah.
relative to the amount of the pay
Of
cut.
course,
yeah.
that'll be unreasonable. Bearing in mind, these corporations are led by men, so these decisions will most likely have a man in the room making these decisions.
Mhm.
If not led by him, a man will be in the room. So it wouldn't be unreasonable whereby you would have to remortgage your house and move. It's not going to get to that point. But what we are trying to say is that, as you said, in the pursuit of
If it's
Like a 5% cut.
If it's like this is going to be a pivotal moment, it's going to be a stride towards things going. Yeah, like why not? Like if it's a case where
I would.
if it's not like it's going to impact me, like I can still do what I need to do, then it's like okay, like I know it's towards. It's kind of like giving money to charity in a way. As bad as it sounds, it's towards a good cause. Don't
How
get
do you feel
offended.
about that?
Come on,
Don't get offended.
How do you
Don't get
feel about
offended. Don't get
No,
offended. It's
putting-
like you're giving
I
money to a
do
good
know
cause.
what you
Okay,
mean,
fine.
but
It's just being
Fine.
redistributed. Okay, it's like paying taxes. Better.
See,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
disagree. I wouldn't take that cut. I wouldn't.
he's a feminist.
But no, for me it's like
make it make sense.
I'm
Tell
feminist.
him
I
again.
believe in equality, but that's your issue. Solve it yourself. Don't involve me.
But you're the
Don't
reason as
involve
to
me.
why that you're part of
No,
this
look,
as to why the issue exists.
I would rather leave, go to another company, get more pay,
So
and then
what
you
if it
lot
was-
solve it
What if
there.
it was all company? What if it was government legislation?
That what? Men
You-
and
you
women
go-
have to
you go to Nigeria.
We've got countries. Now, if it's government legislation, I could understand that. But if it's within a company, why would I get
What
pay
happens
cut
if you've got
when
50
someone else is
million
going to
as you
pay me
said
more?
for your salary?
To be fair, I'm not gonna lie. I would accept the pay cut, but I'm also cutting though.
See, Fred gets it.
I know.
Fred gets it.
I know. Hear me out.
Because you're
I really do agree. I agree on, like with equality,
Actually, that's true.
in terms of payment. But if I know I can get more money elsewhere.
Yeah, she money half
Why
a
am I
mech
staying
still.
there?
I can't
No,
like
I
money
hear you,
half a
but
mech
what?
still. I
Okay,
can't lie, I'm off.
But you moving to another corporation for a higher pay is a separate issue. Yeah, from it being decreased to make it equal to women.
No, I'll
I'm
accept
saying
the
it's
decrease.
government legislation
Yeah.
for
Okay,
all
then that's
corporations.
calm.
I'll be fine
That's
with
calm,
that.
then there's
I'll
no
be fine
point.
with
Yeah,
that.
because then you.
No, because what
everyone's
we
on the
only
same
work
boat.
to get
happens
paid, don't we?
in that example, you've got no other option except
Exactly.
to leave the country.
So that's the only way.
So therefore, that's your
No,
you're
or I
accepting
can
it
decide
because-
not to work. I know it's
So
mad.
how
I know it's mad.
One second.
You in the
We
middle.
can't forget
One-
this
yeah,
your
there's no
class
point, yeah.
because-
What you need
Is your
to-
pride that high that you'd rather not work than let women have equal pay? That says I'd
wish
rather
it
eat
was.
imagination and pride
You know
than
what's
let
really
these
sad?
women get
You
the
know what's
same
really sad?
amount.
We're discussing this as
Damn.
banter, but that's not funny.
Why you
That's not funny. No, I realise we're all laughing at this, but that's not actually funny. That's not
Oh my
right.
God.
This is how I'm gonna
Yeah,
do
of course
it.
Do you know what
Right.
cracks me up? You're the one who came out first. I'm a
I'm a
feminist.
feminist.
I am.
Everyone should be equal.
I am.
Bottom line, that's it.
I am.
He's like, oh yeah, I'm a feminist.
No, look.
I
he's
even
so
went out with a girl
misogynistic.
and she told me she's not a feminist and I did.
Wow.
He likes his privilege.
Girls like to remember
I
stuff.
feel like
you know?
you're-
Wow. No, look,
Delusional.
no. From my point of view, like growing up, like my mom worked most of her,
Yeah.
all of her life pretty much,
Mm.
and she was a nurse. And for me, like for a period of time, she was the only person working. My dad wasn't in the country,
Mm.
so if I knew that she was earning less than her male counterparts that were doing the same job, I think that's ridiculous because
It would piss you
effectively
off.
she's a single mother.
Yeah.
So if there was policies in place to give her more money, I would completely support that. But in my own perspective, if I was working at a company and they asked me to take a pay cut, and I know that I don't need to accept that pay cut, but I can go somewhere else and still earn the same amount of money, I'll take it.
But what if the person you were getting your pay cut for a woman who was a single mother?
Oh, I understand. I would take
Okay.
it. I would accept
So
it.
therefore, that means that your support for the feminist movement is contingent to her circumstances.
Yeah. I mean,
But
if it
that's
was a
not-
black or...
No, but
So
that's
you know
not
what?
being
Wait.
feminist.
You know Oprah Winfrey. You know Oprah Winfrey.
Well, the billionaire, yeah.
Yeah. She when she was starting out, when she was
Sorry.
when she was starting out, she wasn't earning the same amount of her
as her counterparts or something.
I think she had a co-host who was a man or something.
Oh.
Anyway, she wasn't earning the same amount of him. He was earning a lot more. And the guy that she went to the network, she's like, why is he earning more than me? He was like, he has a family. You have no one, and so why should he be why should you be earning more than him or the same as him? But it's not fair. It's still not fair.
But hear this,
Because she's doing the same job.
Harriet,
She's doing
no,
the
wait.
same exact job.
But Tevin, you say it because I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say.
Wait. If this is the flip side,
100%.
and she's a single mother,
Black.
and then let's say if she's a single mother,
Mhm.
and then let's say, for instance, if she's a white woman, and then let's say she's earning more, is it fair that a single mother earns more than the guy that's got no responsibility?
No.
We're not saying that.
If they have the exact same job,
They have the exact same
If
job,
they have
same
the
qualification.
same
Why
job,
should she get
same
more?
qualification.
But
No.
for me personally, like I've always known the way like pay packets are done, it's always a spectrum. And then so depending on your circumstances, I'm saying this because obviously where I work, I know there's certain managers that earn on the upper end of the spectrum due to their personal circumstances. And then there's others that, they're just a lot younger, so therefore they get paid less. So the guy that earns on the up end of the spectrum, his wife basically had a brain tumor. She had to get like surgeries. So she was basically off of work. So he was basically
The main provider.
Provide.
yeah, and obviously like he had to take care of the kids a lot more. So
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
it makes more sense from a compensation point of view. However, but he does the exact same job as his counterparts.
Obviously, everyone's circumstances is different, and if you go and
So is that
you
is it-
request,
but in
when
that
you
situation, is that
negotiate
fair?
your pay, no, but when you negotiate your pay,
but
you just
he's
have to convince them to give you that.
To give
Yeah,
you
this
that.
is the
I don't
thing.
think
We're
it should
talking-
just be given just because.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly.
You need to argue, not
Innit?
argue it, but you need to say
Negotiate
why
your pay,
your
yeah.
So in the-
work,
so in-
your work,
so in the-
that
so
the
in the-
value of your work
So
is
in
more.
the Oprah case, is it not fair then?
No,
'cause
I
if
don't
you-
think it's fair.
Yeah,
but
I
look-
think she should have been paid more. I think she should have been
She
paid.
should have
But
been
her
paid.
family,
He's
she
got a
doesn't have
family.
No.
Yeah,
He's
but
got a
I
family.
presume
He's
they're
providing
using that as
the
an
family.
excuse anyway.
She
But-
from the beginning was not paid the same amount.
But let's.
He didn't have to argue his case.
But how do you know
because
this
he had-
though? Because
Because
Okay, one last
Of
thing.
course,
One
listen,
second,
this is a
one last thing,
discussion.
one last thing
We're
before-
talking
one
in a
second,
we're
one
talking
ladies and
about-
gentlemen, we got it.
Listen, we're
one last thing,
talking-
one last thing, Stavro, one sec. Let me quickly answer that question. You know when I said that, okay, I would actually accept the pay cut and leave.
This
You need to
guy's
understand
just
this.
Yeah, I
One sec,
know.
one
You know
sec.
you're misogynist.
Wait, you need to
Like-
no, hear me out. The only reason why we work is to get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will accept the pay cut so that everyone's on the same level. But there's nothing. Why am I staying there if I can go to elsewhere and
That's exactly what I said.
I can't like. It's so
That's
true.
exactly what I said.
It's so true.
That one's got nothing to do with feminism.
And also
That's
as well,
what-
I feel like what we were saying as well, like at what point does it become like the distinction between negotiating power and someone's just being discriminated on their gender? Because let's say, for instance, if a man and a woman both get offered the exact same amount of money, and then let's say if the man says, I'm gonna be real with you, I know my value, put another 10 on it.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? Boom.
Mm.
So that's what I'm trying to say. Sometimes it's not every instance where there's pay disparities because it happens
it's
within-
fine, but with negotiating power, I
Mhm.
feel like people are more likely to give it to men, and people are more
Yeah,
likely
that's
to
true.
love
100%,
women.
Yeah, that's a-
100%.
100%.
That's a given.
100%.
If I say that,
I feel like as well. I feel like it's because I feel like a lot of it as well is like you said because a lot of men are in the positions of power, and I feel like it's an ego thing. Like most often than not, if you ask a lot of what's it called men, would you want a woman that's challenging you, all the time? They'll probably say no. It's just tiring, But then
that's a separate issue.
But no,
though,
but
yeah,
hear
yeah.
this though. So say for instance, now that gets carried into the workplace, it's a situation where you're trying to give her a pay package, and then she's challenging you. It's a case of it's just like, oh gosh, this is going to be so long. Is it a case of I really want to keep having to keep going through this? So that's what I'm trying to say. In that sort of scenario where some men, they'll just be like, because obviously the men are the ones making decisions, they might just be like, you know what? It's just going to be long to work with her, so I don't even want to pay her this amount of money because it's just like I don't want to have to consistently
That's it.
go through this whole
Back and
someone's
forth with a
because
woman.
and sometimes men genuinely a lot of men get intimidated by women with strong personalities
Yeah.
that know their value and say no, because a lot of men inherently feel like women are going to be docile, they're going to be like, oh, thank you, yes, but when a woman says no, like, whoa, why is she talking back to me? This was not in the script, Jeff. Like when was this a thing? You know what I mean? So it's bad, but there are certain circumstances where men and women aren't going to get paid equal, and I feel like it's fair. And I feel like in some sense, so say for instance, dependent on the industry, in professional industries, like let's say, like most majority of 9-to-5 jobs, everything should be paid the same. Like there's no differential. However,
when it comes to like creative industries,
I feel like it's very, very dependent. When you get into like not the niche industries, but the ones that are away from the mainstream jobs,
like contractors.
No. Because contractors
not even contractors.
I
I would
mean,
say like creative industries and all of like those type of industries. It's a measure of your ability to create.
For instance,
whatever
the most basic example of men and women's football pay. For instance,
Okay.
women can never be paid the same, and I'll argue to the death on that.
I hear that because
if
they
they
don't
get-
get
if they get enough fans,
many
if they get enough
spectators.
fans,
There's not as much revenue.
Yeah, no, if they
Exactly.
get no, they can if they get enough revenue.
It's
Let's
not.
just
It's
correct
not.
that.
It's not watched as much as men's football.
Yeah.
But why
Exactly.
is that?
Yeah.
But why is that?
Men aren't interested in it.
Yeah.
No. But why?
But that's something I don't feel like we can.
it goes down. You have to unpack that as well.
Definitely as well, because I feel like as well it's to do with, you know, I guess as well, if it's like saying, would more men watch women playing volleyball than playing football?
Yeah.
Yes,
Of
because
course.
calm down,
Sorry.
buddy.
All right.
But you know, but again, that's because
But that's to do with sexualization of women.
exactly, and that's what I'm trying to say. So therefore, that's another reason why we're saying like women's football can only ever go so far because
Because it's not sexualized.
Yeah,
They're in
it's not.
baggy football
It's
kit.
not a sport.
And
that
it's
can
a
be
sport
sexualized.
you associate with men. It's not a sport you
Exactly.
associate with women.
Same for like women's rugby. You're like a guy, like, oh, I don't want to watch that. I don't want to see a woman like.
Yeah, with MMA. Well, actually,
MMA, the last one.
I was about to say
that was good.
it
There was actually
depends.
one.
It
Yeah,
depends.
MMA
But
is
by
rugby
and
fine.
large,
By and
though,
large,
but by and
yeah,
large,
no.
like those sort of industries, like I feel
Even
like
I found it uncomfortable when I was
Really?
watching the other fight. Like there was a woman fighting, and I was like, whoa, like
Her
I
face
like
was
it, though.
bruised and
I like
disfigured.
it.
That fight
I
was
was
Yeah,
like,
that was a good
Actually,
fight.
honey,
Yeah,
don't-
yeah.
your
You're paid to
facial
watch that, though.
structure, it's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
I found it uncomfortable as a woman watching a woman fight.
That's just because you're just not used to it. I think that's it.
that's
Yeah.
just
That's
that's
just-
just
that's
Genuinely,
everyone.
yeah,
That's
whatever it is.
everyone.
Yeah.
Whatever it is,
It's
but
the
I
same
don't
with
watch it. I wouldn't
It's
go
the
and
same
pay
with
money
football. We're
to
not
watch
used
it.
to it.
It's the same way to say like, like an example I said to these guys as well. Yeah, we'll do in a minute. Like another example would be like, let's say if there's a women's beauty pageant compared to let's say the male equivalent, would you expect the male beauty pageant to generate the same amount of income that the female one would?
But
No.
do you see
But
how
then that
it's
plays
all?
into gender roles.
Yeah,
But
but
again,
do you
that's
see
what I'm
how
saying,
it's
certain things
all
it's-
considered around sexualization of women?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
feminism becomes a capitalist issue. It becomes all of that. It all.
Wait, why is it sexualization? Because surely,
It is
one second,
sexualization.
surely the women audience or women population could also watch like female things. Isn't it 50-50
No, they do,
right now?
but who are these corporations owned by? It's all
Wait,
by
wait,
men.
wait.
All,
So,
feed,
no, take
all
for
of
example-
capitalism, all of this stuff is
Take for
fed by
example,
men.
women's FA, yeah.
Mhm.
So watching the football, females football, why can't they have a female audience, like the same audience as men?
They do have a female audience.
But no,
Oh, you mean like as in attract the same numbers? Is
Yeah.
it like why can't you get 60,000? Well, obviously when it comes to men's football, it's men and women and children. But why can't they generate that amount of numbers?
for
That's what you're asking.
yeah. Why can't the women do that themselves? Like, why
I
can't
feel,
they
but
watch
I
their
feel
own-
like women do that. But I feel
But
like
I feel like
because
you're
society,
dependent upon
I feel like
men to do that, to watch their stuff.
well, that in part of it as well. But I feel like just women in society, we are we are our own problem as well. You know, like
Everybody's
we're part of the
conditioned.
problem. Do you know what I mean?
Everyone's conditioned.
Yeah.
So we're conditioned to sexualizing ourselves also.
100%.
So I'm not saying that it's just a male problem and you don't need to figure out what you lot are doing. We're part of the problem as well. And there's so many other different issues that we're part of the problem
It goes back to like
with.
when you're growing up as well. Like women aren't encouraged to play football and stuff like that in
Yeah.
school and stuff. It's a male dominated.
Like,
Yeah.
prime
in-
example being
in
like Bending
class.
like Beckham. As much as
Yeah,
that,
exactly,
that's
exactly.
yeah.
In schools like that, it's just there's football teams for boys. Like we had a
Yeah,
girls'
it's really-
football
yeah.
team and we had a boys' football team. But when I was in primary school, but
They might not
It
even
was-
set up games. For
we
other
didn't have
schools, you know,
games
it's
set up
just
for the
in-
girls, nothing like that. So it comes down to that. The interest is all catered around men when it comes to sport. It's just the way it's been.
All of like the whole society is governed by gender roles.
Mm.
A lot of it is obviously we're all victims to social conditioning in the sense that people have to behave and maneuver in a certain way, and like it's basically the basis of how society's been set up, like in regards to the erection of industries and along a lot of other stuff. But all in all, like I feel like the one thing they've kind of all agreed on is that
That Lauren's not a feminist. And you're listening to Pull the Plug podcast.
That's the
Your Pretty Girl
conclusion of
podcast.
this episode.
I've been Freddie.
I'm okay with that.
I've been Tevin. You've been done out. You've been done out.
I've been Lauren the feminist.
Say your name.
Oh, I'm on.
I've been Saba.
Thank you for watching.
Wow.
Pleasure's always.
Thanks.